I found it very interesting to read through the details and the miscommunications and the lack of communications, all of that. I found the article interesting, but the conclusion that I came to was nothing's going to change. This isn't a big deal. Kevin, how did you take that?
Well, I'm going to yield most of my time back to the gentleman from Northwest Ohio, Mr. Tony Gerdeman, but it was pretty shocking when I read it. And honestly, I think that the biggest thing that stood out to me was him giving away a game that wasn't his to give away in terms of the 26 Big Ten championship. Again, I said I'd be brief here because I know Tony's done at least one show on this and probably has more prepared comments than I do. The pushback about the November night games is pretty insignificant to me. I mean, if coaches are complaining about it, coaches are complaining about it, but it's cold in November, whether or not it's 11 a.m. or 3 p.m. or 7 p.m. I go back to, 2014 and the game Ohio State played at Minnesota. JT Barrett is still running that 86-yard touchdown back. It was 15 degrees at kickoff, and I really don't think we're going to see a lot of November night games of where it's going to go off at 15 degrees or colder. So just kind of a comedy of errors. And was it a poison pill left by Kevin Warren not signing all the deals? Was it gross incompetence or a combination of the two?
A combination of all of that. Yeah, we did this week's Tuesday's Buckeye Weekly pretty much, I think, about this entire topic. So I won't go too far because I'll leave some stuff for Steve. But the November night games, I don't understand how athletic directors could see something called Big Ten Saturday night on NBC and not realize that this meant Saturday night football throughout the entire season and not just September and October. November was part of that. You're not going to get paid 100% of, like, NBC's not paying the same amount as CBS for 2/3 of the same number of games. So there's some intellectual dishonesty there. And also I don't blame coaches for not being aware of this because coaches are in their bubble. They're not worried about TV contracts. They just spend the money and ask for things. But for the disconnect, the lack of communication from Warren to the ADs to the coaches, that is nothing new, and that has been one of the lasting legacies. The real legacies are the TV money and all of that, but one of the through lines through all of this is the lack of communication from Kevin Warren. But the giving away the Big Ten championship game, but I still think the most egregious thing is the Big Ten hiring a search firm to decide if they should give Kevin Warren a bonus when there's no language for a bonus in the contract for Kevin Warren's contract. So you have so much money that you're going to spend more money to decide if you should give more money to somebody when that wasn't even part of their contract. And he's left you in a bit of a lurch. Yeah, you've got all this money that you're going to be spending, but you still have to sign these deals. So a little bit of a comedy of errors, and the Big Ten isn't laughing.
Yeah, it's a complete disaster. And having said that, I agree with the premise that it's all going to get worked out because there's so much money at stake. There were two pieces about this. One, that they have to pay back Fox $25 million from the COVID year. I'm like, the COVID year was like 3 years ago. Why are they still talking about this 3 years later? And hell yeah, everybody knew that they were going to have to give back $25 million. That's not the revelation to me, is that hasn't been taken care of, and why Fox hasn't just deducted that from future payments to the Big Ten. And then the other part of this that is interesting is like, well, that the colleges have gotten a bill from Fox already about a title game in 2026. I mean, wouldn't they pay for the rights for that in 2026? I'm confused why. I mean, they're not paying the entire freight of this thing 3-4 years out in advance. I don't understand why. Maybe Fox sent a letter of information to all the colleges to say, this is what your ex-commissioner just did to us, your best TV partner. There's a lot to this. As part of his outgoing thing, Jim Delaney insulated Fox and the Big Ten Network and said, basically, we're going to sell the rights to our games to them, and now they're going to turn around and sell them to other partners. I don't understand why there's a middleman involved in this, namely Fox and Big Ten Network, which the Big Ten does have a 49% stake in. Is Big Ten Network siphoning off and Fox siphoning off money from NBC and CBS that should go to the Big Ten and the colleges? What rationale did they have to put that in there, other than Fox probably wanted a protection that for everything it is put into Big Ten Network, that in perpetuity, the Big Ten Network is going to be adhered to the hip of the Big Ten. They'll always have programming, basically. I mean, you can't have a Big Ten Network without cooperation from the Big Ten and live games from the Big Ten. So, but I don't understand why he insulated that. And it's not really well explained in the Thimel article why. I mean, Fox was involved in the discussions with NBC and CBS and ESPN and whoever else came to the table, the streaming people,
the digitals and everything else.
whoever, they were all involved in that. That's something I don't understand. And, basically you've given value to Fox for something that they're not earning. I don't, other than they're a consultant, I guess, and maybe they helped you drive a bigger bargain with NBC and CBS, because CBS is paying 10 times as much money for this package as they were for the SEC, which tells you they were making many, many, many millions of dollars off that cheap SEC deal from 10, 15 years ago that is, kind of going out the window after this season for them. So that's one thing. NBC night games in November. There's a really easy compromise on this. First of all, the last weekend of November, the Thanksgiving weekend, I guess they're going to give them a Michigan State, Penn State game on Black Friday, either in prime time or late afternoon or something, in addition to somebody, FS1 or Big Ten Network, having Nebraska, Iowa again, I guess. As a make good, they're giving them like a standalone game. It's what the article read. They got somebody to compromise on that. So that'll be like a national broadcast for NBC. So that's one compromise for 2023. But going forward, this is very simple. Mm-hmm. The last Saturday of November, you're going to get either a UCLA home game against USC, or you're going to get the USC home game against Notre Dame every other year. That's what you get the last Saturday in November. That's what you get. Fox can't show that game at noon Eastern time. So that's what you get. That's your thing. And whether it has an impact on the Big Ten standings or not, so be it. Up till that, Ohio State's doing November 11th this year, which is the latest night game Ohio State's ever had for Michigan State. That just leaves that 1 week in the middle, November 18th. How are you going to solve that one? I don't know. I don't know what you're going to do there, because Michigan, Penn State, and Ohio State want no part of that. Because if it's a road game on November the 18th and suddenly a blizzard blows through, well, there goes your Big Ten championship. Possibly there goes your playoff berth. So that makes no sense to be stuck in a snow bowl, on November.
But the blizzard could happen during the day. I mean, it's a blizzard's a blizzard, and let's be honest, it's not. I mean, I'll speak of Ohio. I don't really prepare for snow in November or whatever. That's what, December, January, whatever. January, February. It's I don't know. I understand the apprehension of having those games, and it's very easy for me to say, screw it, play them all at night, because I'm in the press box. So, I mean, it's whatever, but I don't know. I think one thing, though, that's interesting is that Fox and BTN, by extension, are really protecting BTN as we sit there, and Pac-12 network has never had any traction, seen in tens of homes. And what's going to happen with ACC network if the Super 7 over there in the ACC managed to crack that grant of rights? So right now, once again, we talk about how this is shaping up to be the Big Two and everybody else. The SEC network seems to be very successful, and the Big Ten network seems to be very successful. And, there's really no I don't think there's a Big 12 network. There is Longhorn Network, which will get rolled into SEC network, I guess, somehow when Texas moves over. But a lot of moving pieces and a lot of fun little storylines for those people like me who really enjoy kind of the media, scuttle.
They don't owe Kevin Warren another dime. I mean, they should just, he's lucky they don't sue him for, malpractice or whatever. I don't know. Just whatever.
So yesterday or the day before, I was looking at like the average November temperatures in Columbus and Lincoln, Nebraska. And, it's 40s and 50s on average. I'm just looking last year, the last 15 days of the month, there were 6 days with a high in the 30s and like 8 highs in the 50s. And obviously you're not playing with it's going to be night, so it's going to be colder than that, but no snowfall really. Like, we get more snow. I'm more concerned about snow in March than I am in November. And if it happens, it was going to be a random thing anyway. But of course, Minnesota, nobody's expecting Minnesota to host a November night game. Although we have seen the first week in November, there have been some night games over the years. I think, Michigan needs to play a part in this, and they're kind of dragging their feet now. The whole network draft thing comes into play as well, but Michigan hosts Purdue the first weekend in November. That would be a perfect night game for them. It's a good game, but that also may be Fox's game. So I'm with Steve though. What you don't want to do, and I think that's why Ohio State said we will gladly take we will offer ourselves as tribute basically for this Michigan State, because it's the second week of November. You don't want to do it the third week in November because the following week is Michigan. So fine, we'll host Michigan State. Let's just get it done. And look what we're doing. We're trying to be helpful. James Franklin probably I would assume he's furious about having to play a Friday night game, Black Friday, against Michigan State and short week or whatever. I think it's pretty cool that there's going to be, I assume, a Black Friday doubleheader though. I think that's good for the Big Ten. But as Steve said, moving forward, 2 or 3 of these games will just be in California, and it's not going to be an issue. Like if you want to have USC, UCLA, USC like 3 weeks in a row, that seems like an easy fix.
I mean, that's still a pretty big TV market, isn't it? To me, I mean, NBC just needs to cool their jets a little bit, I think. And, methinks she doth protest too much. I think that they're pounding the table to get whatever concessions they can get. They should be only too happy that they're involved with the Big Ten, at $300 million a year. So just shut up and, whatever.
I do wonder when the 2024 contract or the schedule comes out, if there's going to be some sort of let's try to manipulate this so NBC can have some games, that are good, if they're going to try and schedule it that way, so that there's more than just one marquee game. And really, with the addition of USC, there should be at least 2 or 3 marquee games every week. But where that is taking into consideration on, maybe we better put this game here because that allows our partners to have a better primetime contest rather than you got Maryland and Indiana, something like that.
It sounds to me like Tony's pushing for like the Big Ten to do the NFL flex schedule or whatever, so nobody will know what's going on at any given time.
Can you believe
we got 6 days
Thursday night games now? They're going to flex Thursday freak. They're going to move a game from Sunday 4 days up. I assume they're going to do it on at least 4 weeks notice, but I don't know. Didn't know if that got reported what the notice is, but I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah, I think it's 28 days, and they don't expect to have to use it, but we'll see.
More than twice, yeah.
I do understand NBC's reservation that if they're just thrown California games with the thought that, okay, we're going to have to hope that those teams are in the mix and those are the most prominent games. No, that's not what we're paying for. We're paying for this selection process that we signed up for. So, that's not necessarily sure. Sometimes,
but Wisconsin at USC, I mean, I think there's enough competition for USC to make it interesting. Sorry to interrupt, Mark.
Just get ready
Absolutely.
for Ohio State at USC or Ohio State at UCLA being November 18th every year going into the Michigan game.
Well, yeah, if they go to the idea that they're going to move to week 0 as the new week 1, then that kind of alleviates some of the issue because the last week will be November 18th. So, and then the championship game would be Thanksgiving weekend. So maybe that's one way that they'll get around this conundrum with, whatever it is. But I understand where they're coming from. They want, if they're paying top dollar, they want value at the same time. I put this on our message board. It's like they need to have 3 games featuring these, what did I say? The front line. So 6 of the 8 or 9 real football entity schools need to be playing each other almost every week of the season to make CBS, Fox, and NBC whole on this deal. And that's going to be hard to do because now instead of playing parity scheduling, you're playing the top teams only 3 or 4 times. You may have to play them 4 or 5 times, and then you enter a situation where you can get knocked out of a playoff bid if you end up 8-4 or 9-3. So, I don't know. It's going to be the idea of parity in the Big Ten seems like such a crazy topic given what we've seen over the last 20 years. So, it's Ohio State and everybody else for the last 20 years.
More money, more problems.
That's it.
And I think this is where the conclusion is that NBC is going to get its games, and they're going to get the games that they signed up for. They're going to get the quality of games that they signed up for, and the Big Ten is going to get paid. I think all is going to be well, and there might be a lot of pissed off people in between, but the 2 entities that matter will get paid and will get delivered their product.
One quick thought. The whole Thamel article just illustrated the complete lack of collaboration and communication from the ivory tower in Chicago, Kevin Warren and all of his underlings, down to the presidents, athletic directors, and coaches. There is no synergy going up and no synergy going down. And that's what Petitti, the new commissioner, has got to rebuild. He has got to get everybody in a room and say, I'm here for you. You're here for us. Let's all kumbaya. Let's march to the beat of one drum. And if you got a problem, come see me. Come see me and talk to me, and we'll get it worked out to the best that we can. It was Kevin Warren was, I am the dictator and I am the ruler of all that I see, and everybody can piss off, basically was his way of managing this thing for the last 3 years. And the Izzos and whoever else you want to insert had no input into any of this. And Ferentz's or whoever, the deans were not consulted on any of this. And it's not right. They're the protectors of their sport. And if there's no communication between whoever's at that job down to the guys in the field, the coaches, then there's even less communication from the Big Ten to the schools, to the fans. And it's just crap on the fans again. It's all just a television show, and they don't care about you as the end user, the one who, unless you watch on television, they couldn't care less about you. And that's the feeling you get from what they've done, what Kevin Warren did with this deal.